you can see they're laying at the side of the track as well, with his charge from Paul de Resta there. Now, we've seen a lot of people go offline there, haven't we?
Yeah.
And Paul de Resta managing to just bring it back out onto track, but losing a big chunk of time.
And he'd already lost the place to Marco Wittmann, so here comes Wittmann now back into the top 6. One hand on the Champions Trophy. Comes up over the timing line. We're on lap 39 here. Robert Wickens' fastest lap of the race at 21.0. And this is Paul de Resta into the pit lane.
And, well, he locks the front end up just before the pit entrance line. I wonder if this is going to be...
I wonder if it's overheating, because look at the front of the car. It's absolutely full of grass, because he had that moment and ran wide, and it may be, look how green the front of it is. If it's suddenly swallowed all of that grass, it could well be an overheating engine that's done for him.
And at the end of Paul de Resta then, here it is in replay, the incident, and this is Wittmann getting past.
So again, that's BMW traction out of a corner, isn't it, that we've seen before. But this is de Resta going wide, and look, because he hits the grass...
Acts like a plough, doesn't it?
Yeah, the front just fills up, and straight away that's going to cause it to overheat. So, that takes de Resta out of the game. It releases some of the pressure off Wittmann. It brings Farfus up one place, and Timo Scheider has just done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:20.8. So, having said that it was when, not if, Juncker got past him, Timo Scheider is responding, except Wickens has gone even quicker for the fastest lap of the race. This is like qualifying and a race all thrown into one. The lap times are coming down, and there's de Resta out of the race after what had been, in fairness, from right near the back. He started 21st, a very, very good drive by the former champion, the youngest champion in DTM's history. And this is the man who looks as though he's going to be the next champion in DTM's 30-year history. Marco Wittmann out on track now, running 6th, and in a championship which, of course, had 7 former champions coming into this year. It could well be that we have 8 people with a DTM title to their name going to the next round at Zandvoort and then to Hockenheim, because Wittmann is going to secure the crown seemingly with 2 races to spare.
Well, that pincer movement we saw earlier on, which involved Tom Bay and also Gary Paffett, and of course Jamie Green, that is going to be under investigation.
Poor old Jamie Green. Almost everything seems to be involved in some manner, doesn't it? Whether it's a drama on track or now anything to do with the stewards getting involved. But Jamie is still soldiering on in 12th place, and we're not done yet. Did I tell you that Scheider has gone quicker again? A 1:20.4 is the fastest lap. Rockenfeller having a go at Farfus. This is for 7th. Molina is 9th, tucked up behind them. And Joey Hand has got the point for 10th place now. He's managed to work his way up the order. You might say that's partly down to this type of track. It's a kind of American sort of circuit, isn't it? With the oval and the roval bit, the infield course. Right, being reported to the stewards is the incident between Adrian Tombay, Jamie Green and Gary Paffett. I hope the stewards aren't on an early flight. The cars come over the timing line then, and you've got Farfus defending from Rockenfeller. This is for 7th place. Molina tries to buy into it as well.
So on lap 40 of 52, 14 and a bit minutes left on the clock. We're on board with Mike Rockenfeller. Wehrlein leading now by just under 12 seconds over Christian Vittoris as we take a look at Mike Rockenfeller hard at work there, and Joey Hand buying into this battle as well.
And it's going to go time, isn't it? Not laps, of course, now, given the conditions. Rockenfeller right on the back of Farfus. This still for 7th place. And look, that line is getting longer and longer and longer. Hand 10th, Tomczyk 11th have joined this battle pack, being held up a bit, really, by Farfus.
So Rocky needs to get past this BMW ahead. Great to hear the sounds of the car then as Mike Rockenfeller absolutely nails it around this Lausitzring circuit. But Farfus doing a grand job in backing them up because they cannot find a way past. Wehrlein leading now by 12 seconds.
And Vittoris being caught by Scheider. The gap 2nd to 3rd is down to 5.1 seconds. Rockenfeller here was slower in sector 1 but fractionally quicker in sector 2 than Farfus. He's got Molina and then Hand and then Tomczyk right up behind him. Look, they go to the dry line across the start and finish line, move back up to the wall to get the line for turn 1. And this is Rockenfeller's view, and he is trying to attack and defend at the same time. Life for the reigning champion is very busy indeed, as in comes Tombay now. Now, he was involved in the incident with Green and Paffett, and I fear this may be damage that has done for him.
Yes, I think you could be right. So Adrian Tambay then in the Audi into the pit lane, and it might be the end of Adrian Tambay's race. Certainly looks that way, doesn't it? And just looking at the damage potentially there, and here's a replay of that incident.
I was just wondering whether he had a puncture, because he's gone up the inside of Jamie Green.
Yes.
And just that last shot we had of Tambay in the pit lane, yes, he has. Right front's gone down, hasn't it, in that clash? So that's what it is. It is a puncture. So Adrian Tambay had to limp it round a whole lap, because that was at the last corner, and his race is effectively over now. The gap between Vitoris and Scheider, 5.1, becomes 4.2. Timo Scheider is in the 19s now, and that is Joey Hand, who is off the road. He was in 10th position, but he's back onto the circuit now and continues. Let's see how he got there. He was having a go to get past Mike Rockenfeller, went up the inside and kaboom, managed to make contact with him, lost it, nails his foot to the board, spins himself out of the drama, but he was kind of up the inside and then just slithered into Rockenfeller. Mike did a good job to hang on to that, because he was knocked sideways, but yeah, I'm afraid Joey Hand has taken himself out of the points and gives the place to Tomczyk, who also got past the recovering Rockenfeller. So Tomczyk now is 9th, and he, don't forget, started 23rd.
Well, we've had plenty to talk about, haven't we? Pascal Wehrlein leads this race. We have 11 minutes left, and Pascal Wehrlein leads this race by just a shade under 13 seconds.
Whereas Vitoris to Scheider is down to 3.6, and Marco Wittmann looks as though he's going to be DTM champion. And of course, significant, it's another champion for BMW on the Mark's return to the DTM. Bruno Spengler having won the championship for them a couple of years back. Now Marco Wittmann, incident under investigation between cars 1 and 4. That was the Hand Rockenfeller interface, and so Joey Hand is going to be looked at for that move up the inside. We're now on to lap number 44, and we've got 10 more minutes of the race remaining. There is Wittmann, champion-elect, remember, because his championship rivals have been in the wars and are not going to score well. It will be Vitoris potentially to move up to 2nd, but even he is too far back to be able to threaten by the end of the season. 3.6 Vitoris to Scheider.
Here is our championship prediction if it stays this way. Marco Wittmann on 128 points, which means Christian Vitoris, as you said, up to 2nd on 59 points, and Matthias Ekstrom, of course, DNF in this race. We've already spoken to him. Verena has spoken to him. Would be P3. That's the prediction at the moment. So the man that you're looking at in the centre of your screen, all things being equal, but we still have 9.5 minutes of this race to run. Well, new DTM champion, potentially. He's running P6 at the moment. The Icewatch BMW car driven by Marco Wittmann, and what a stellar season he has had thus far, with another 2 rounds to come. Let's not forget, you know, we're off to Zandvoort and we're off to Hockenheim as well. There's Wehrlein now. Wittmann's car really sparks as he dives to the drier part of the line.
And here is somebody whose best finish in a DTM car was 8th last year, and this year he has just been almost in a different league. I was talking to Jamie Green last night, and the question was posed to him by a journalist as to what is... that's Martin, who's gone off, Wittmann's teammate. He is going to recover as we get the driving standards flag for Martin. Jamie Green was asked, what is it that makes Wittmann so good? He said, well, I don't know, and I don't think even some of the people in BMW know, because here and again at the Nürburgring, he has been the standout driver for BMW, and the others just haven't been able to get near. Martin, DTM first season, has dug himself out of the gravel. Fair play for that, and will rejoin on track just ahead of his teammate. He's gone a lap down, though, now, Maxime Martin, winner at Moscow. You've got to say that Wehrlein and Vitoris have both done excellent jobs up front. Now, what about Vitoris to Scheider? It was 3.1, it's 2.8. Can second place change before the end?
It's possible, isn't it? Well, we're staying with Marco Wittmann at the moment, as the BMW is pushed around this Lausitzring circuit by the driver who has had a phenomenal season. Crosses the line now in P6. Great to see him at work here in the BMW. We have 7.5 minutes left to run. Lap still at the top of your screen. We're predicting that that's going to change to time. And the leader of the race, Pascal Wehrlein, some 13 seconds ahead of Christian Vittoris, who's currently P2. Then it's Timo Scheider, P3. Junker Deller is P4. Then it's Robert Wickens, P5. Then this man, or that man, it was Marco Wittmann, P6. This is our race leader with the GUIX livery on the car that has been the must-have car on this track. Today, it's Pascal Wehrlein,
who now leads by 13.7 seconds, and he just drove away early on, didn't he? And as his car was working well on the wet tyres, and he got them up to temperature and was able to push on cold rubber early, so he left everybody else squabbling behind, and that's really what helped to open up the gaps. Vittoris has responded to the challenge of Scheider, so that gap has sort of stabilised now. Their last lap times were split by only 1,000th of a second. A Mercedes 1-2 is something that was looking very unlikely at the start of the season, but there is Vittoris in second spot, and Scheider has certainly not given up, and nor is Junker Deller, who's just done the absolute best in the first sector. Junker Deller has fallen away from Scheider to the tune of 2.5 seconds, but he's still pushing as best he can.
Yes. There's Vittoris going through. There is Timo Scheider just in the middle of your picture right now. And then see the car of Danny Junker Deller. So Timo Scheider then, P3. Take a podium with both hands, wouldn't he?
Absolutely right. And Bruno Spengler back into the pit lane. What has really been a race to forget. This is his 4th trip down the pit lane.
Yes, he comes into the pit lane from what was P16.
Another set of tyres ready for him. So he will now go onto the prime tyre. That should see him to the end, which can't come quickly enough for him, I think. He was saying pre-race that would have to be clever on strategy, and you never know with the weather conditions, but it's really gone against him, I'm afraid, this race. So, Wehrlein, 13.5 seconds up the road. He is set to celebrate a race win. So too Mercedes, but at BMW, they've got the champagne on ice because very soon they're going to herald another DTM champion.
Yes, you can see the sense of anticipation in the garage. We look at the Ice Watch driver that is Marco Wittmann, who is currently on track P6. And, well, he's not going to be challenged by Augusto Farfus, barring any errors. And, well, Marco Wittmann here at the Lausitzring with the falling off of his nearest points competitors. Well, he'll be going to the next round of the DTM for 2014, potentially as the champion. So Marco Wittmann, as he sparks that BMW around this Lausitzring circuit. Pascal Wehrlein now 13.5 seconds to the good in P1. Just on 4 minutes left to run in this DTM race here at the Lausitzring. And, well, Pascal Wehrlein and Christian Vittoris doing an outstanding job for Mercedes-Benz. There is our race leader, Pascal Wehrlein, who, as you said, right at the very start of the race, that's when he just nailed the gap, wasn't it? You know, at the very, very beginning, he was just away and gone and just gradually kept build that lead until he'd got such a cushion that it was always going to be difficult to get on terms with him, whatever the strategy.
And he has driven so well. He has kept the opposition behind. He's never really had to do that much defending because he was able to build that gap. That one slight error he made was soon put to the back of his mind, and he was able to build the advantage. He lost the lead on the pit stops, but as it cycled through, so he got it back. Here is Petrov versus Paffett. Vitaly Petrov wants that place, Gary, and he's going to have it because they lean on each other going to turn one. Vitaly Petrov up into 12th. He's set for his best DTM finish. Again, it's another Mercedes charging up the order. Jamie Green has just had another pit stop, incidentally, and is heading down the pit road once more, and it is to retire this time. So a race that started off looking pretty promising for him ends up in retirement. Big disappointment for Jamie Green. We've got 3 more minutes to go now.
So